was Daniel who pursued me. Daniel had a way with words, he always had. Look, Gracie, if we go up around the back of Samson Hill, he won't see us coming, will he? Not if we keep our hands down. Suppose not, I said, but he could if he was looking that way. So what if he does anyway? Daniel went on. We just run away, don't we? He's an old man, Gracie. The oldest man on the island, my Auntie Mildred says. And he limps, so he won't hardly be able to run after us and catch us, will he? Perhaps not, but course he won't. There's nothing to be frightened of, Gracie. Anyway, we have the whole of Rushy Bay to ourselves. Nice calm sea and no big team to bother us. No one's ever gonna find us there. But what if Burman does catch us, Daniel? I mean, he's only got to touch us. That's what I heard. Who told you that? Big Tim. He said it was catching. Said the Birdman's only got to touch you and you catch it. Like measles, he said. Like scarlet fever. It is not the first time I heard that either. Catch what? Daniel said. What do you mean? Madness, of course. It's catching. That's what Big Tim said anyway. Honest, you go loony, just like him as he touches you. Tom Leeward, Daniel said. Cause you won't. That's just Big Tim trying to frighten you. Don't you know him by now? He's full of stories, you know that. Honest, Gracie. You won't go mad, loony, or anything else. I swear you won't. It's not true anyway. And even if it was true, he isn't going to get near enough to touch us, is he? Oh, come on, Gracie. Rushy Bay's only place left for us. We keep right to the far end of it, away from his cottage, so that if he does come, we can see him coming in. Then we can just run for it. All right? What would Father say? I asked weakly. Nothing. Not if he doesn't know, and he won't. Lest you tell him, of course. You wouldn't go and tell him, would you? Course not, I said. Well, that's all right then, isn't it? Go tomorrow, shall we? Suppose so, I said. But I was still not happy about it. So we went next day to Rushy Bay to sell our 2 fastened boats, Shag and Turnstile. It was a Sunday morning after church. I know that because I remember crouching in my new pew beside Mother and that morning and asking God to protect me against the evil powers of the Birdman. When it came to the last word of our Father, and deliver us from evil, Amen, I squeezed my eyes tight shut and prayed harder than ever in my life. As we crawled up through the heather on Samson Hill that morning, I tried to turn back, but Daniel would not let me. He took my hand, smiled at sideways, smiled at me, and said I would be all right because he was there and he would look after me. With Daniel and God on my side, I thought, my best friend on earth and my best friend in heaven. Surely nothing would go wrong. I was still trying to convince myself of this when we came over Samson Hill and saw the sand of Rushy Bay below us. It was deserted, just as Daniel had promised. We could see the smoke rising from the 2 chimneys at either end of the Birdman's cottage and his 2 brown goats browsing in the heather beyond. But there was no sign of him anywhere. We sailed to Shag and Turnstile at noon lunchtime. The wind was just right, blowing gently from east to west so that the boats fairly flew over the sea side by side. Turnstile was just that much faster. She always was. And I was worrying now only about the rigging of Shag we had somehow were inside loose. I had already forgotten all about Birdman. When we went back for lunch, we hid the boats in among the dunes. It would save us carry them all the way home and all the way back again after lunch. But that afternoon when we returned to the spot we had left them, they were nowhere to be found. At first, we thought we may both have been mistaken. That perhaps we have forgotten the exact place we have left them. But the more we searched, the surer we were that they were gone and that someone must have taken them. I knew well enough who that someone must be. I turned for home, calling to Daniel, begging to him to come with me. He was standing with his back to me on the top of his dunes, hands and lips, his strap flapping around him, when suddenly he cried out and launched himself down over the dunes and out of sight. My mouth was dry with fear, but I had a horrible dread in the pit of my stomach. But curiosity got the better of my fear, and I followed him, even though he was running along the beach around Heathly Hill, towards the Birdman cottage. All the while, I called to him to come back, but he would not. By the time I caught up with him, he was crouching down on the sand just below the line of orange and yellow shells left by the high water. There were 3 boats lying at his feet in the soft sand. I recognized them at once. They were Shag, Thurstone, and beside them, Cormoran. Below them, I could see 2 letters written out in the orange shells. Z.W. We both looked up, expecting to see the Birdman standing over us, but there was no one. Smoke too rose from the chimneys in his cottage. The ghost wrenched along the ridge of his thatch, screeches at us unpleasantly. Then from the dunes close behind us, a donkey brayed suddenly and noisily. That was enough even for Daniel. We picked up the boats and we ran, and we did not stop running until we had reached the safety of Daniel's boat shed.